Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
It's our literature unit today,
Yay!
And it will be for the next 3 days. And that's what we usually do. We talk about a work of literature, and we talk about the author, and then we talk about some of the ideas in the work of literature and why we think you might enjoy reading it.
But as we always do on day one of the literature unit, we talk about the plot summary. We talk about the story, what happens. And hopefully, we don't give away the end of the book. You know how the book always has kind of a fun or surprising ending? We try not to give that away. But today we're talking about a very, very classic book called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which was also made into a film. It was in film form when Tom and I were growing up, and it was really cute. I just remember as a little kid thinking, wow, I would love to live in a chocolate factory and have candy available 24/7. Didn't you think that, Tom? I thought that would be awesome.
No, I did not think that.
I love candy.
Because I didn't actually see this. I think there was a movie out when I was a very small child, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, starring Gene Wilder.
We loved him.
And he passed away just last year.
Yeah, he did.
But I never saw that movie, and I have not read this book, so I can't really relate to wanting to go to a chocolate factory and eat a bunch of chocolate. Although, like any kid, I liked candy and sweet stuff as well.
Well, Willy Wonka was a little weird, I must say.
Little eccentric.
He kind of scared me as a kid. But I did love the chocolate factory.
Did Gene Wilder play Willy Wonka? That was his role?
He's crazy boy.
Okay. Well, we will talk about that, but actually we're going to be talking about the book that was later made into films.
Yeah.
This book is not Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, and we should mention the fact that it was just remade with Johnny Depp.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I don't think I saw that either.
I didn't
think
see
my
that
wife
one.
and daughter saw that, but I didn't see that. But I think I was working that day or something. But in any case, the title of the book that these films are based on is actually Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. That's the author. We'll talk about him in our next program. But today we're going to summarize the novel, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes.
So let's get to it. Let's listen to the lesson for today now from beginning to end.
Charlie Bucket's family lives in abject poverty. Charlie, along with his parents and his 4 grandparents, occupies a tiny, shabby house. They seldom have enough food, but when they do, they share it with each other. One day, Willy Wonka, the eccentric owner of the local chocolate factory, announces that he's hidden 5 golden tickets inside some chocolate bars. The children who discover the tickets will be invited to his factory. Though Charlie usually receives a chocolate bar for his birthday, he doesn't believe he'll be fortunate enough to get the precious ticket. However, fortune smiles upon him. One day, he finds a coin on the ground, and on a whim, Charlie buys himself a chocolate bar with the money. Much to his amazement, a coveted golden ticket is hidden within. When Charlie's frail grandpa Joe hears the news, he miraculously jumps out of bed, ready to escort Charlie to Wonka's factory. The pair enjoys the whimsical and magical tour. Nevertheless, during the tour, those children who misbehave are made to leave the factory one way or another. Veruca Salt, a spoiled brat from an affluent family, attempts to steal a squirrel from the factory when informed it's not for sale. She's then thrown down the rubbish chute. Violet Beauregard steals a piece of experimental gum and chews it, which turns her into an oversized blueberry. She then has to be carried away by Oompa Loompas, Wonka's staff of mysterious, musical dwarfs. Finally, only Charlie and Grandpa Joe are left, as they've shown that they treat Wonka's factory with respect. For this, Wonka reveals that Charlie has won another prize, the entire factory itself. The 3 of them board a glass elevator, are shot out of the building, and come crashing down into the Bucket's shack. There, they collect the surprised Bucket family and return to the factory together.
Okay, everybody, let's talk about today's lesson, shall we? The title is A Delicious Read, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Sometimes when we say a book is enjoyable to read, we say it's a good read. Did you read that book? Yes, it was a good read. But now we're saying it's a delicious read because this book talks about candy and chocolate and stuff like that. So, of course, it will be enjoyable to read, not only if you're a child, but also if you are an adult. It sounds like a book for all ages. So again, we're summarizing the book today. And again, this is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Okay, here the first paragraph begins by saying, Charlie Bucket's family lives in abject poverty. Ooh, that does not sound good. So this is the main character of the book, a boy by the name of Charlie Bucket. I've never known anybody with the surname Bucket before.
No, I haven't either.
It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but it's a very unusual family name.
Yes, it is.
But in any case, his family lives in abject poverty. Abject usually just means it's a very terrible, miserable kind of situation. And I most often see this word abject with the word poverty. Abject poverty. These two words are often used together. You can use abject in other situations, like maybe abject misery or something like that, but most often it's used with poverty.
I think that's the only way I've ever seen it written is abject poverty. So I would probably limit it to that. Now, Charlie, along with his parents and his 4 grandparents, occupies a tiny, shabby house. If you occupy something, it means you're there. Your presence is there. It doesn't necessarily mean you live there all the time. You could occupy a place if you're at work, right? But it does mean reside or have one's place of business in a building. So you can use it to either represent somebody living there as like a home or being there as like a business. Now, if you describe houses being shabby or your clothes, maybe as being shabby, it means they're old and they don't look very good. Probably needs to be fixed up a little, so it's in poor condition. You'll often see clothes described as shabby as well if you're reading about a character who is pretty poor.
All right, shabby just means in bad condition because of having existed for a long time or it's not been taken care of. Yeah, stuff like that has been kind of neglected. So yes, they occupy or they live in a tiny, shabby house. They seldom have enough food, but when they do, they share it with each other. Okay, so that sounds like a nice, warm, close family. They're poor and they often don't have enough food to eat, but when they do have that food, they offer it to each other. Here, you can have some of my bread here. Here, have a piece of my fried rat here. You can have some or whatever it is they're eating.
Gross.
Well, they might have to eat rat meat because they're so poor, you know. You never know, you know. But in any case, yes, they sound like a warm and close family. And one day, Willy Wonka, the eccentric owner of the local chocolate factory, announces that he's hidden 5 golden tickets inside some chocolate bars. Okay, so this is another major character in this book. A man by the name of Willy Wonka, who was played by Johnny Depp, right, in the recent film version of this book, and by Gene Wilder in the movie that came out, what, in 1970, 71, somewhere in there. And if you're eccentric, that means you're kind of weird, but
little strange,
but still okay. You're not insane. You're not nuts. You're not wacko.
You're not a bad person either.
Yeah, oftentimes they describe rich people as being eccentric because they're a little strange, a little weird, but they're basically okay.
Yeah, they don't behave typically, I guess you could say. So he's the eccentric owner of the local chocolate factory. And he's announces publicly, hey, I've hidden 5 golden tickets inside some chocolate bars. And the children who discover the tickets will be invited to his factory. And you can imagine how exciting that would be for kids to spend a day in a chocolate factory. Because you probably assume you're going to be able to eat a lot of candy. So, though Charlie usually receives a chocolate bar for his birthday, he doesn't believe he'll be fortunate enough to get a precious ticket or lucky enough. He just thinks, well, even though I will get a chocolate bar for my birthday, I probably won't get the one with a ticket. If it's precious, it's so valuable. You know, it might be worth a lot of money, or it might be worth a lot just because it's special to someone's heart. So it doesn't have to be necessarily something that costs a lot of money. It's just precious to someone because perhaps they love it. Your children are precious to you, even though you would never sell them.
And this is a precious ticket, and he thinks that, well, you know, there's lots of chocolate bars. There are probably thousands of them. I don't have much of a chance of getting a ticket from a chocolate bar. However, fortune smiles upon him. This phrase, fortune smiles on someone or upon someone, means that you got lucky. For some reason, you were fortunate. Hey, fortune smiled on me. I won 5,000 NT dollars in the lottery.
Wow, that's pretty good news. Well, before we continue and tell you how he was lucky, we're going to take a brief time out, listen to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back.
大家好，欢迎收听 English Digest， 我是 Alice。今天我们要阅读的是 Unit14 文学单元的第一天课程。今天的文章要介绍的是一本很有名的小说 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory 巧克力冒险工厂。这本小说之前还被改编成电影，由强尼戴普主演。文章的第一段提到故事的主角 Charlie Bucket是一名出生于贫困家庭的小男孩。有一天，他得到了一张幸运金卡，因此可以和他的祖父 Joe 一起参观在他家附近的巧克力工厂。我们看到第一段的第一句 Charlie Bucket's family lives in abject poverty. 查理巴克一家人生活在赤贫之中。形容词 abject 是非常糟糕或严重的意思。Abject poverty 就是指赤贫，非常贫穷。如果我们说某件事情 ended in abject failure， 就是指那件事彻底失败。英文中有许多字都是以 J-E-C-T 结尾，意思却不一样。例如 object O-B-J-E-C-T 当名词的时候是念作 object， 意思是物体。当动词的时候念 object， 意思是反对，后面常接介系词 to， 再接名词或 VING。例如 I don't know why Jack strongly objected to joining this competition. 我不知道为什么杰克强烈反对参加这个竞赛。另外一个 JECT 结尾的字是动词 reject， R-E-J-E-C-T 就是拒绝的意思。例如 David was sad that Lily rejected his invitation. 大卫很难过莉莉拒绝了他的邀请。另外 inject I-N-J-E-C-T 它的意思是注射。例如 The doctor is injecting the patient with a new drug. 医生正在为病患注射一种新药。接着我们看到第一段的第二句有一个片语 along with，意思是连同什么什么一起，意思相当于 together with 或是 as well as。 要注意的是，如果以 along with 连接两个名词当主词的时候，动词变化要跟着第一个主词。例如 Jack along with his parents intends to move to the countryside. 杰克和他的父母打算搬到乡下。这句的动词 intend 要以主词 Jack 为主，所以 intend 要加 s， 变成第三人称单数动词 intends。 我们再举一个例子 Susan, together with her $2, has gone abroad on vacation. 苏珊和她两个女儿出国度假了。这句的助动词要以 Susan 为主，因此是用 has 而不是用 have。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We shall now continue with our lesson. Again, we've got Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is our featured novel in today's lesson, and it's all about Charlie Bucket and Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka says he's going to let some kids have a tour of his chocolate factory if they can find some golden tickets inside some chocolate bars. And Charlie Bucket is from a poor family. He doesn't think he's going to find such a ticket, but he's lucky. Fortune smiles on him, and he gets that precious ticket. But here's how it happened. Okay, one day he finds a coin on the ground. Okay, a coin, of course, is money in metal form, usually round. Okay, here in Taiwan, of course, we've got, three different coins, 1 NT, 5 NT, and 10 NT, and 50 NT. There's 4 kinds of coins, actually. So he finds a coin on the ground, and on a whim, he buys himself a chocolate bar with the money. On a whim here, if you do something on a whim, you just kind of do it and you don't really know why. I remember in university, some friends, some of my classmates suddenly just said, hey, what do you say we just get in the car and drive to Chicago for the day? Because Chicago was only but like a 4-hour drive away. So we just thought, okay, let's just do it. You know, we don't need to think. We don't need to worry about our homework. Let's just go. We just did it on a whim. We didn't even think about it. So he found a coin and he thought, what the heck? I'm going to buy a chocolate bar.
Wow, was that a good decision or what? Well, much to his amazement, a coveted golden ticket is hidden within that chocolate bar that he bought with a coin that he found. So he was very, very lucky, much to someone's amazement. We actually use this structure to talk about a lot of things, much to his dismay, much to his joy, much to his consternation. I'm thinking of the words that follow that. Much to his amazement just is setting up a situation where he's amazed and you're wanting to let everybody know about that. If you have a feeling of amazement, you're kind of shocked. You can't believe something's happening. You're really surprised and you're wondering what's going on. Well, much to his amazement, he had one of those coveted tickets in his chocolate bar. If something's coveted, it means everybody wants it. It's something that people would do anything to get. So they really want to get that ticket, but he was lucky enough to find it in his chocolate bar.
He was very amazed, and he got that coveted golden ticket. It was hidden in that chocolate bar. And when Charlie's frail Grandpa Joe hears the news, he miraculously jumps out of bed, ready to escort Charlie to Wonka's factory. So we've got Grandpa Joe, and he's frail. If you're frail, you're kind of delicate, and you can be easily hurt. You're weak. And so, of course, old people get kind of slow, and they're easily injured, unsteady. They might lose their balance and stuff like that. So he's kind of frail. They probably need to look after him and stuff like that. But hey, he's really excited about this news. So he miraculously jumps out of bed. Miraculously has to do with the word miracle, which is something that doesn't happen every day. It's like an act of God. So miraculously is the adverb describing something like a miracle. So like a miracle or miraculously, he jumps out of bed. He's not frail anymore, and he's ready to escort Charlie to Wonka's factory. To escort usually means somebody takes you someplace because you're stronger or you're more experienced or something, and you take that person someplace so they are protected.
Yeah, it's a different way to say accompany. You accompany someone somewhere. So he escorts Charlie to the Willy Wonka factory. The pair enjoys the whimsical and magical tour. Remember that Willy is a little weird. He's eccentric, remember?
Yep.
And they go on this tour that's kind of crazy. Whimsical just means kind of fanciful. It's amusing. It's fun. When I see whimsical, I always think of children for some reason. They go on this tour. Now, nevertheless, during the tour, Remember, there were 5 tickets. And so there were 4 other kids who found tickets. Those children who misbehave are made to leave the factory one way or another. So if you misbehave, you're not doing what you're told to do. You're not being obedient. And some of the children on the tour aren't obedient. They're naughty.
And one such naughty person is Veruca Salt, who is a spoiled brat from an affluent family. Brat is just a misbehaving child. Oh, you spoiled little brat, you. Affluent means rich. And she attempts to steal a squirrel from the factory when informed it's not for sale. So, yes, she attempts to do this. She tries to do this. And, hey, you can't take that squirrel. It's not for sale. And as punishment, she's thrown down the rubbish chute. A chute is kind of like sort of a tunnel that goes from top to bottom, and you throw your rubbish in there and it goes down to the dumpster.
Rubbish is garbage.
My grandmother had a laundry chute in her house.
We did too. We do still.
Still, yeah. My parents did too, actually. Well, they moved later. They don't have it anymore, but I used to throw things down there for fun. But in any case, we've got another naughty girl here, another brat by the name of Violet Beauregard. She steals a piece of experimental gum and chews it, which turns her into an oversized blueberry. That's not very nice. Experimental means they're trying something new and it hasn't been done before. Sometimes music is described that way. Oh, I like experimental hip-hop. It's kind of like new styles of hip-hop that haven't been heard before.
Yeah, and she's turned into an oversized blueberry. Imagine a blueberry really, really big. That's what she looks like. She then has to be carried away by a group of musical dwarfs we call the Oompa Loompas. They're very famous and very funny. Staff, remember, is non-count, guys. You can't say, my staff is going with me to lunch. No, unless you're talking about your whole group of employees. Be careful with that word. It's frequently misused here. Non-count. Just say I'm taking an employee to work. Mysterious is, you don't know too much about this person, right? Too much about these little dwarfs, but they're very cute, so it's okay. Finally, last paragraph. Only Charlie and Grandpa Joe are left, as they've shown that they treat Wonka's factory with respect. Oh, I see. So the rest of the kids had to be thrown off the tour because they did things they weren't supposed to.
Right, like the other ones tried to steal a squirrel and a piece of experimental gum, but they were respectful of the factory. They kept their hands to themselves.
Good.
And for this, Wonka reveals that Charlie has won another prize, the entire factory itself. So he reveals this. That means you kind of show it for the first time to reveal a secret, for example. And so he says that, well, because you guys behaved yourselves, because you were so good when you were here, hey, you can have the entire factory. It is all yours. And the 3 of them board a glass elevator, and they are shot out of the building and come crashing down into the Bucket's shack. The shack there is probably referring to their shabby house. And so they were in a glass elevator, which is, I guess, an elevator that you can see out of. And I guess lots of department stores in Taiwan have glass elevators so you can see outside or stuff like that. With windows, basically.
Yeah, that's great.
And yeah, they crash into that shack there. And I guess they're ready to inherit the factory.
A shack is a word we use to describe a really bad-looking building, run down, shabby. Remember we talked about their house being shabby? Well, they're talking about their house with this word shack. There they collect the surprised Bucket family and return to the factory together. So Charlie and Grandpa Joe know what they've won, the entire factory, but the Bucket family doesn't. So when they crash into the home, that's when they tell their family and they gather them together and they return to the factory to inherit this wonderful candy factory, which is awesome.
It does seem to have paid off that they were behaving themselves and they're a close family and they share their food with each other. So hey, there seems to be some lessons to learn from this story. And we're going to talk about some of those themes and ideas in this story in the 3rd day of our lesson. But the next program, we're going to be actually talking about the author himself. But that's all for us today. We're going to close out our program now by listening to our Chinese teacher one more time.
接着我们来看第一段的倒数第二句 Much to his amazement, a coveted golden ticket is hidden within. 让他相当惊奇的是，一张他梦寐以求的金彩券就藏在里面。这里有一个很值得学习的句型 to somebody's 再加一个表达情绪的名词，就是指令某人感到怎么样的事。例如 to one's disappointment 令某人失望的事， to one's relief 令某人松了一口气的事， to one's sorrow 令某人难过的事， to one's embarrassment 令某人尴尬的事。若要强调令某人感到非常怎么样的事，你可以在 to 前面加上 much， 或是在情绪名词前面加上 great。 例如 much to Andy's excitement， 或是 to Andy's great excitement He has been admitted to his first choice college. 令安迪非常兴奋的是，他获准进入第一志愿的大学。文章的第2、3段提到，并不是每个受邀参观巧克力工厂的人都可以从头参观到最后。我们看到第2段的第2句 Nevertheless, during the tour, those children who misbehave are made to leave the factory one way or another. 尽管如此，在这趟游览期间，那些行为不检的孩子们总以某种方式被迫离开工厂。动词 misbehave 就是指行为不良或是失礼，而这句的动词 make 在这里是当使役动词，表示使某人做某事或是要某人做某事。句型是 make somebody do something。 例如Ben's mother makes him clean his bedroom at least once a week. 班的母亲要求他一个礼拜至少打扫一次他的房间。如果要表示被动的状况，某人被要求或被叫去做某事，则是用 somebody is made 加 to 加原形动词，而不是只加原形动词。例如 Employees at this company are sometimes made to work on Saturdays. 这间公司的员工有时候会被要求周六上班。以上就是今天的课程，谢谢收听。
That is all we have for you today. Please join us again next time when we actually talk about the author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Roald Dahl. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.